Welcome to another Enigmas of the Ancient World video. Thanks for watching. My name's Luke. Today's video is going to be on Abu Ghorab, but I would like to start very briefly with a moment of warm thanks for the gentleman driving this Jeep who appeared out of nowhere and gave us a ride across the desert to Abu Ghorab. And when I went back last year, I found out that he had wested, as the ancient Egyptians would say, and was no longer with us. And this is the only footage I have of him driving this Jeep right there. I believe his name is Hassam. Every once in a while, a stranger like Hassam will do something for you in your life, and you'll remember it the rest of your life. And this Jeep ride was one of those moments for me. So thank you, Hassam. This is our first look at Abu Ghorab, the Sun Temple of Nyuserre. Nyuserre was a 5th dynasty pharaoh, and he has a complex over at Abu Sir as well. And if he indeed did build this at the time we are told he did, it would have been around 2500 BCE. The structure is made of a mud brick primordial mound that may well be much older than the later structure. And then that mud brick has been built on top of with limestone and finally cased in a red granite. That's Abu Sir you see in the distance. There's lots of things to look at this site. It's not a large site, but there are the remarkable and very famous bowls, the Ra-Hetep, and the Sun Temple itself. Just like Abu Sir, there's a lot of evidence of machine tools. This is the old floor. This is the original entranceway from the east. You can see these two pieces in front of us have clearly machined surfaces. Very flat, very smooth, with the normal striations in the granite that we see at Abu Sir and other places. To the right here we have the amazing and unique bowls found nowhere else in Egypt or anywhere else in the world that we know of yet. And then the Ra-Hetep in front of the temple, and then the temple itself. Now, the Ra-Hetep is largely considered to be an offering table. This whole site is thought to have been dedicated to Ra and the pleasing Ra. Some people translate the Ra-Hetep itself as meaning Ra is satisfied. It's made out of 5 large pieces of alabaster or travertine or white calcite. There's interesting blocks and pieces all over this site. The Ra-Hetep still has some of the original floor around it and bears tool marks, some of which you're seeing here. This is a tube drill mark. There's actually 3 tube drill marks right here. And the shape, there's the third one and the second one. And the shape of this Hetep was cut out of its original block by using these tube drills. And you can see at certain places they've just gone a little bit too far and left a couple millimeters of a circular or semicircular indentation. Look also at the floor here. We're going to see this in passing really quickly, but I want to mention how pitted the floor is. I don't believe that's any kind of chisel work. It looks caustic, like some kind of caustic fluid or something, or just extreme age. It looks like it's been underwater for a really long time. Looks kind of like coral. You can see there the remnants of the red granite casing stones on the outside of the pyramid. There's my buddy Ben. And so the Hetep here, we're actually coming around to the east side of it, and you'll notice it's aligned with the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west. And you'll notice also that the north and south blocks are smaller than the east and west blocks. I can only assume this is because east and west were much more important to the Egyptians in their beliefs and rituals than north and south. So occasionally, you'll notice if you've watched my videos before, I will talk about how a site feels, and this site is one of the most energetically, like the air feels thick. I would compare it to Javine Temple. I think is like the two most weird feeling sites that I've been to. It's really quite intense. It's another tool mark there on that circular piece in the center. So there's a squaring of the circle that occurs within this Hetep. Some people say that the circle within is a representative of Ra. Some people say it's the capstone over a well. There's a lot of different theories and thoughts, but I feel that this was a really special site. So this platform that the obelisk would have been on, that looks like the beginnings of a small pyramid, would have been itself about 20 meters high. And then the obelisk on top would have been up to another 50 meters. We're not sure. There's not enough left of the obelisk to make an accurate measurement. I would recommend also, if you go here, to take off your socks and shoes and stand on this Hetep or sit on it and put your hands on it too, and just see how you feel. Do that for 15 minutes. I would really recommend that. So here's another tool mark, this time in the red granite. That's another tube drill mark. I believe this was a hinge for a door. It's very similar to the hinges you see in the old Sphinx Temple or Valley Temple in Giza. And these were hieroglyphs of dedication to the Sun Temple. And you can tell by the green inside the markings that there was initially copper in there to highlight the hieroglyphics that has been long since removed. So many different types of stone, red jasper, quartzite, limestone, red granite, just so much stuff that they were working with. This is the northeast corner, and look at this stone here again, just eaten away. Looks like it's been underwater hundreds of years. There's possibly another reason for why some of the limestone, especially at Abu Ghrob, this really protected limestone has been encased in granite that looks like that. Why does it look like that? So these bowls are not as famous as the other bowls. Presumably, when the other bowls were moved, according to Hakim Abdel to be taken to a museum, these ones were deemed less amazing, which I think is a fair assessment. The holes are in different places as well. Many of them are broken. But again, the holes are at the top. They're different type of hole, not made with a tube drill. They're not as deep as the other ones. They don't have the design around the lip. It's very interesting. And some people, the archaeoegyptologists like to claim that these were filled with blood, and then the blood ran from one to the other through the holes. You'll notice, of course, that all the holes, these boxes or the other ones, are at the top. Doesn't make for great flowing. I know some people have suggested that maybe they were smelting bowls of some kind for metal manufacturing. I didn't see any remnants of that either. Doesn't seem to be, alabaster is extremely porous. If you were sacrificing animals and running a lot of blood through there, there'd be a lot of blood that would be remaining. Also, the strange conical shaped stones that sacrificial animals were attached to before they were sacrificed in large amounts are completely absent at this site. At other sites where there were sacrifices, those stones are present still. So the purpose of those stones, those bowls rather, is still a mystery. So here's the peak of the Abu Ghorab Sun Temple, the Nyuserre Sun Temple. You can see how large the Aten is in the sky up here. Also notice those circles in that bank back there. I've noticed those every time I've gone there. They're perfect circles in the sand. I've been 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row. Yeah, and they're there every year perfectly. So I think there's something underneath those, quite possibly waiting to be excavated. So that is, by the way, as I said, Abu Sir, but also you can see the tip of Zoser's step pyramid in the distance there. And what you'll notice if you climb any of these structures is that you can see the next pyramid family down the line. So here you're seeing the Great Pyramids on this side, and you look the other way, you see Abu Sir, and then you would, from the top of there, you see Dashur, and then Saqqara, or Saqqara and then Dashur. So that they were all sort of visually connected too. You can see the remains of the courtyard. It was a walled structure, went all the way around. Nyuserre Sun Temple, which is the only other sun temple we know of, is off in this direction, but it's almost completely gone. This site is surrounded again by First Dynasty burials. So, is it possible that First Dynasty burials occurred around an already existing structure? Or did they come later and build this? At Abu Ruwash, I would say for sure that pyramid was there, and then the burials came. Now, if you've seen some of the videos I made while I was part of Pukje Productions, we tested running an electromagnetic current through the different types of stone and found that limestone conducts very well and granite protects. So is it possible that all these structures, like this one that has a mud brick primordial mound, and then the limestone, and then the red granite, and if the obelisk had an electron benben, is there a way that they were collecting, siphoning, using atmospheric electricity? I don't know. It's worth looking at. But if you were going to do that, you would want to insulate yourself, and that would be a good reason to bring that granite 1,000 kilometers from Aswan. I don't think 4th Dynasty Egyptians were going, we need a stone that lasts more than a couple of thousand years, go find me something else. I don't think they were doing that. Those buildings towards the top left were apparently storerooms that had long been looted by the time this place was excavated and examined. At Abu Sir, as you'll see when I finish the video for that, a lot of these stones that look like this piece here, just all eaten away and coralified, appear at Abu Sir as well. So this is Gaston Maspero's diagram or drawing of what he believes the Sun Temple looked like. So you can see it really was a massive obelisk built on the top there, theoretically. And he's even delineated a separate tip for the benben as well. So it may well have been electrum, silver, gold. Yeah, I don't know. So to the bowls. As I mentioned earlier, indigenous wisdom keeper and Egyptologist Hakim abd'el mentioned that these had been selected to be taken to a museum and were never picked up. And while on the one hand I'm really glad that they're here, maybe now that the new museum has been completed, they'll come and take one or two just to protect them. So you can see, first of all, I'm just captivated by these cog-like circular shapes on the edge of the lip. I don't know what those are for. It feels like it's something like a lid would fit in or something, but we haven't found any lids as far as I know. Again, you can see the holes are not anywhere near the bottom, so not a good flow for fluids. Doesn't really seem to be any residual fluid lines or stains in any of the bowls. As I said, there's the smelting theory, the sacrificial theory. There's also a theory that these held other offering fluids, maybe oils, things like that. There's a saw cut right there, a straight one you can see. So the holes, the larger holes were cut into these as well with tube drills, so more tube drill work. When Petrie first found tube drills, and some with the core still inside. Of course, you can tell by the striations how much pressure was used behind them to move. From the hardness of the stone and the depth of the distance of the striations, you can tell how much pressure was required to move through the stone at each turn. And what they discovered is that when these were found in the late 1800s and examined, they were exerting more pressure than any industrial tool we had at that time. So here's another interesting thing. This smooth surface you would think was the finished product, what they were looking for. That's actually what they're removing. They're returning it. That's actually on top. The rougher surface is underneath, and what they're doing is they're removing the shiny surface and making it rough. And Yusuf, when we discussed that, he believes that it's functional, that there's a function, there's a purpose for that. And I would have to agree, because it would look much prettier, it'd feel much prettier, all nice and smooth like that. Why make it sort of rough and pitted? There must be a purpose or a reason for that. So these are mysterious, and unlike anything, as I said, seen anywhere else in Egypt or anywhere else in the world, at least of which I am aware. The amazing thing about these ancient sites is that we're finding more and more of them every day. Just yesterday, I saw another Hanan Pacha, Urun Pacha, amazing looking site in Peru that I never heard of, haven't been to, never seen. And they just keep popping up, and as our technology gets better, we're going to find more stuff in the jungles, we're going to find more stuff under the sand, and hopefully at some point we'll actually have the funding to spend to excavate this stuff. Maybe we can build a couple less bombers and excavate a few more ancient sites. So this was Abu Ghrob. Special thanks again to Hassam. May he rest in peace. And here you can see Abu Sir from the peak with the tip of Zosis Pyramid, step pyramid on the right. This is a picture actually taken from the Ra-Hetep, lying down on the Ra-Hetep. I took this picture of the moon over the Sun Temple. And then some sunsets. If this is a site that you would like to see, among others, if you'd like to see special sites and enjoy special access to sites that are usually closed or off limits, Yusuf and Patricia and I have a tour lined up in November. The information is right here, coming up on your screen now. We still have some spots available if you'd like to join us. Thank you for watching. From Enigmas of the Ancient World, I'm Luke. Have a great day.